Okay, I think it's about time we do an update on this Bally 8 ball. It's been a while since the last video, so I hope I remember. Everything I've done but the last video was basically undoing all the hacks in this head. So since then, I have attached the head, and I just discovered that reattaching these ground straps was just a matter of busting out the staple gun and resecuring that there, which was off, and there, which was also off. So ground straps were happy. And then the original CPU had a locked on LED, so it would not boot up. Of course, I checked all the fuses and all the voltages on the power supply and all the voltages on the original solenoid driver. So after I determined all that was good, I tried the original CPU. It did not boot, locked on LED. I tried messing around with a couple of the processor chips, like this, the 6820 and the 6800 chips. So I replaced those. I sent my board out, so I can't show you. Sent it out for repair, but tinkering with that did not yield me any results, and I think the socket on the one chip was pretty bad. I mean, it was. I don't know if I made it bad or I made it worse, but certainly I was prying up the socket while I was prying up the chip. So that was not good. So that was sent out for repair, and I had some pretty weird issues where, I stuck in the Alltech MPU, and as you can see, I have an Alltech solenoid driver in here now. I originally had it hooked up to the original solenoid driver with the Alltech MPU, and I was having weird issues where I would hit one pop bumper and it would fire a slingshot. I would hit the other pop bumper, it would fire the other pop bumper. The knocker would fire the kickback, and one of the chimes would also fire the out-hole solenoid. So the startup chimes, every time the one chime fired, the out-hole fired, so the ball would shoot into the shooter lane as soon as you started the game, and it went do 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 do. One of those chimes also activated the ball kicking into the trough. So very strange issues. And basically I was my own problem on that, because in the last video I had to redo this whole connector. Well, that's what I thought, but I kind of forget. I did all the connectors except for these top four, because those were good. Every other one I had to repin and unhack. Those four I did not have to. But guess what? It took me all day to figure out that it was very important that I did repin those. They are solenoid data, and they go from here directly to here, these top four wires. So after fussing with it for the better part of 6 to 8 hours on and off, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to repin these, or just never did it. So I should have did it in the first place, would have saved me a lot of trouble. But with the help of lots of people on Pinball Repair Group, got it figured out. So I'll just repin those four connectors, those four wires there, and we were all up and happy again. All my solenoids were behaving as they should, and that was part of the reason I was swapping in this board, and thought it might have been solenoid driver, but I had certainly thought I ruled that out as being the issue, because same symptoms with this board and this board. It was my bad. Should have repinned the whole connector when I had it on the table downstairs. So I also determined that, when I was playing the game, it seemed like the flipper power was ridiculously strong on the left side. So I determined that both the solenoids were incorrect. They're supposed to be 25 500 34-50/50s. And so those were overpowering. So I changed those. And while I was at it, I said, screw it, I will just do an entire flipper rebuild while I'm at it. Got a new bat on the one. Found some new old stock links and plungers, so that was cool. Got some real nice used stops instead. Springs. Pretty much the works. So flippers are all happy now, although they still do seem awfully strong, but that is probably because I just rebuilt them. Oh yeah, and this is a bit of a fail. You see the Playfield here. It's got a couple pieces of semicircular mylar, which is, you know, for the pop bumpers, typically. I mean, slingshots. Well, I thought I'd try the old freeze spray trick, and look how successful I was. Oopsie. Yeah, I kind of peeled up a lot of the art, but look at this. Yeah, I guess it was quite a bit better before I got to it. But look at all these touch-ups underneath the mylar. Like, that is just not pretty. So I thought my goal was to maybe peel off all the mylar and retouch it all up from scratch. But that did not go according to plan. But it was pretty crappy to begin with, so I figured I couldn't really make it any worse. But I did. But I think I can make it better. So I will probably be touching all that up. Oh yeah, because this left flipper was the wrong coil strength and the ball was just launching off of it. Look at this. It literally smashed the pop bumper in half. And then this target was like actually compressed in behind this little bracket. It was hit so hard, like kind of like that. So I got that out and squeezed this back to normalcy. So wrong flipper strength is definitely bad. I'm surprised these posts are still in there relatively snug. Well, that one's not so much, but those take a beating. Those will need to be tightened. And the other thing I started doing yesterday was all the light bulbs. I've got 98% of them working. I just have to change a couple lamp sockets. Okay, let's turn on the machine. Oh, let's plug it in. How's it going, honey?
Good.
Happy
Happy 420.
420. Watching the Canadian Junior Hockey Tournament. Canada plays at 6 o'clock. Who are they playing?
Finland.
Finland, cool. Okay, let's turn this bad boy on. See the fancy solenoid driver with all the LEDs, like indicating voltage, correct voltages, and you know, different solenoids firing. I like this All-Tech solenoid driver. Okay, so let's go into lamp test for fun. Number 1 needs a new socket. Number 4 needs a new SCR on the lamp driver. Number 5 just needs a new socket. And apparently my 2-ball is off. That was on yesterday. So I was tinkering with those. And the main issue I was having was all of the controlled lamps on the back box. Not a single one was working. So I knew that was definitely further down the line. It was not all the light bulbs. So I looked at the schematics, and do you remember this J3 connector, the big long one? I repinned some of it. Well, the schematic said that I need to repin the whole thing, so that's what I did. That's where the lines, this is all back box stuff, so instead of just picking and choosing the lines for the controlled lamps, I went and repinned the rest of this whole connector. So that whole connector's been repinned. This important connector's been repinned. This one's been repinned. And after doing that, voila, we got all of our controlled lamps. Oh, I forgot to check this one, but that one's working. So they're all happy. Display test is actually really good, except for a couple digits on player 4. So all things considered, that's actually not bad at all. And then I think all of our solenoids worked. So that's what I gotta do next is swap in the original solenoid driver board and test it out and make sure everything's working. But like I said, I was getting good voltages on this originally, so I don't foresee it being a problem. But there could be 1 or 2 transistors that need to be changed. What else do we got? I think that is about it. I do have to put in a proper spring here. Like, this is going to be the weakest plunger ever. Like, this kind of full plunge. Look at that. Barely gets up there. So rebuilding plunger, rebuilding pop bumpers. Look how chewy these are. Like, these skirts have seen better days. This has been changed because it's yellow. It's not original. What, do they change it with one that was already 40 years old? Because how did it already smash up that bad? But the one that is the first line of defense is still intact, except the body is like, how does that even happen? That's how you remove a pop bumper, but just so you know. Hey, removing pop bumper 101. I just rip it off the machine. You're not on film, don't worry. I know better. I would get in big trouble. Oh yeah, I do have the light on. Yeah, so cool. This is a more like behind the scenes look at pop bumpers. No body and no cap. Okay, so yeah, I got some work to do. Anyway, that's the update on 8-ball. I think I'm going to go to the storage unit and bring another project home for the basement, so I can work on 2 at the same time.